If you're hunting for a party tent that won't fold under a sudden rainstorm, that you can set up without needing a crew of engineers, and that actually lives up to the price tag, you probably feel a little hesitant right now. I get it, there are a ton of canopies out there promising heavy-duty or high-peak designs, but most of them end up being more of a visual gimmick than a functional shelter. The risk you're really trying to avoid is spending a weekend paying for a tent that looks great on the packaging but starts leaking the moment a cloud passes by, or one that collapses after the first gust of wind. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started digging into the Quictent 2030 heavy-duty high-peak frame party tent, the first thing that stood out was how many people in the reviews kept bringing up real-world scenarios: birthday parties with kids splashing in a sprinkler, backyard weddings where the dress code includes staying dry, even market stalls that need a reliable canopy for a full day. Those are the moments where a tent's true durability is measured, not the glossy brochure. The tent's headline claim is a high-peak frame that supposedly prevents water pooling, and a 19-ounce block-out PVC fabric that sounds like something you'd find on a professional stage backdrop. That's a useful starting point, but the proof is in how that design handles the everyday hiccups that come with event planning. Let's talk about who this tent actually serves. If you're a homeowner who hosts regular gatherings, think seasonal barbecues, family reunions, or a small community fundraiser, this 20 by 30 foot footprint gives you a solid 600 square feet of coverage, enough to fit a few hundred guests comfortably with tables, a dance floor, and a snack station. The high-peak design creates a natural runoff channel, so water slides off the roof instead of gathering at the center. In practice, that means you can set up under a light drizzle and not worry about soggy napkins or guests slipping on puddles. The fabric's CPAI 84 fire certification also adds a layer of safety if you're planning to have a cooking station or candles inside. It's the kind of regulatory detail most shoppers overlook until they need it. On the flip side, if you're looking for a portable, lightweight shelter for weekend camping trips, this might not be the best fit. The frame uses thicker tubes 1.5 inches instead of the more common 1-inch steel you see on simple pop-up canopies. That extra material translates to increased sturdiness, but it also adds weight. One buyer I read about mentioned that the box alone weighs close to 100 pounds, which means you'll likely need at least 2 strong-armed friends just to get it up and down, especially on a concrete patio. If you're hoping to haul this thing in the trunk of a compact SUV and set it up by yourself, you'll probably be disappointed. Now, about the actual setup process, something that often gets glossed over in marketing copy. The high-peak frame comes with a series of pre-drilled connection points and quick-release pins that lock the tubes together. The result is a system that can be assembled in about 45 minutes with a small crew. In a real-world test, I saw a homeowner pulling the tent up for a birthday party. The crew laid out the base poles, snapped the frame together, and then hoisted the fabric with the help of a couple of rubber mallets. The whole thing took under an hour, which is respectable for a structure of this size. The only snag was that the instructions assume you have the basic tools at hand, specifically a wrench for tightening the connectors. If you don't keep a small toolkit in your garage, you'll need to grab one before you can start, adding a tiny but unavoidable step. One of the most practical strengths of this Quictent model is the lifetime accessories guarantee for its connectors. In the past, I've heard stories of cheap canopies where a single rusty bolt ruined the entire structure, leaving owners with a costly replacement. Here, the manufacturer says they'll replace any faulty connector for life, which reduces the long-term risk of a structural failure. In a real-world scenario, imagine you're running a summer market booth and a storm forces you to close early. The next day you notice a wobble in one corner. With the guarantee, you could call the support team, get a replacement part shipped fast, and be back in business without having to buy a whole new tent. The fabric itself, 19-ounce block-out PVC, feels heavier than the typical 12-ounce canopy cloth you see on budget models. That thickness translates to both better weather resistance and improved UV protection, meaning the tent won't turn into a scorching oven on a hot July day. A couple of users have reported that after a full day of sun, the interior temperature stayed comfortably cool enough for guests to sit in the shade without feeling like they're in a sauna. However, that same thickness makes the material less pliable. If you